Hello and welcome. My name is Chef Alex. I'm the resident chef here at My Friend's House Inc., where I demonstrate recipes to utilize the groceries we give out every Wednesday with our grocery distribution program. Thank you for watching. You could do white pepper, red pepper flakes, cayenne is fine. I really like black pepper, especially fresh cracked black pepper. It has like a little sweetness to the flavor, a little bit, and it's really good. And so you want to make sure you're seasoning all sides of the chicken. A lot of people struggle with seasoning for some reason. You want to make sure everything is evenly distributed. I made sure that it was evenly sprinkled. You just want to make sure everything's evenly distributed across the meat. That way the flavor is more even. Now that it's seasoned, we're going to cover it with a paper towel to help absorb any moisture, and you let it hang out for about 20 minutes. We're taking care of our mashed potatoes. We have 4 large russet potatoes. I peeled them and let them hang out in some water. This is how you keep them from oxidizing and turning brown. Like, you could do this the day before and just leave them in the refrigerator in the water until you're ready to cut them. Then we'll cut it down the middle. That's easier. And then we're gonna split it again and then cut it into even pieces. Now, whatever size you choose is fine, but you want to make sure the pieces are similar in size so that they cook evenly. And we're going to add them to a pot of cold water. So when making mashed potatoes, you want to add the potatoes to cold water and bring the water up to a boil so that the water and the potatoes are heating up at the same time. This helps them to cook evenly, and you won't end up with mashed potatoes that are crunchy. We're going to add salt to the water too to help flavor them and season them. And we're going to put a clove of garlic, and that can cook in there as well. You can add raw garlic to your mashed potatoes, but if you want a more subtle garlic flavor, accenting garlic flavor, you can add it in there. Oh, see this potato? We're not going to throw him away. Because we don't want to waste but when you get your produce from My Friend's House, you have to use it immediately. But the sooner you use it, the better. Certain stuff that can be frozen, I would go ahead and freeze it. So what I did is threw them in the freezer until I got ready to use them. So now we have a full pot of water. I just want to make sure that there's enough water to surround all of the potatoes. And we're going to add these 2 cloves of garlic. Just peel it and cut off the stem. You put it in there because it's going to cook, and once it's finished cooking, it'll mash in with the potatoes when we start mashing them. So I'm going to add it like a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to throw these on the stove until they're done. Now we are preparing the vegetables for our smothered chicken. It's just going to be some tomatoes and onions. This is going to help with the sauce. And it's going to give it a lot of flavor. We're not going to cut the pieces small because we want them to be noticeable in the dish. Make sure you peel off that top layer of the onion. No one wants to eat that. Just nice. We're going to let them caramelize a bit in the pan. We're going to add our tomatoes and let everything cook down. Then we'll add our sauce and the chicken, and then let it smother until it's tender. You can do this dish with like chicken breast. It'll just be like a slightly different process. If you're doing this with chicken breast, you want to get the sauce ready, brown the chicken breast, and then let it finish in the sauce a little bit. But we're going to cook the thighs in this sauce. Alright, so I just added about 2 tablespoons. No, more like a tablespoon of oil. And so we're going to add all of these onions. Let's see. Is it hot? Not yet. I want it to sizzle when I add it. Okay, that's the sound we like to hear. Add all your onions. They're going to get brown, and I'm just making sure that all of it's coated with the olive oil. So after 5 minutes on high heat, I'm going to turn it down a little bit and let them cook a little bit slowly until they're caramelized and delicious. This is how you start to build your flavor in your dishes. You want to start with your aromatics. And once these cook a little bit, we're going to add our ginger to it too. So this is the sauce. Smother the chicken in, a Tikka Masala sauce. I got this at Aldi. Ralph's has a lot of good sauces to try. A lot of us are in a rut with the food and the flavors. We're used to eating the same thing all the time. So, you know, just try to pick something and try it, especially if it's on sale or clearance. Aldi, this was like $1.89 or so at Aldi, and it's really, really good. It is not vegan, however, but there's yogurt and cream in here, but it's a really, really good sauce. So now the onions have a lot more color to them. We're going to turn the fire down and let them continue to brown. Sometimes when I burn them, or they get too brown, not necessarily burnt, I just add a little water to the pot, and then it distributes the brownness all over all the onions. I be cheating. I'm just tossing the cauliflower and a little olive oil, salt and pepper before we roast them off in the oven. I said before, like, cauliflower and broccoli are really good when you roast them. So I try to do that before I add them to something else, which we're gonna make something like a salad, a warm salad to go with our chicken and our mashed potatoes. Now I'm just gonna prep our tomatoes to go in with our onions. The juice from the tomatoes will help deglaze the pan and get all the brown off the pan, and this is where the tomato is starting to turn. So I'm just gonna peel that part off. This is a big tomato. These are what they call beefsteak tomatoes. Just gonna cut them in large chunks. So we got about 1.5, 1 3/4 tomatoes. And look at all of that deliciousness. Let me back up. Add in the tomatoes. And once we add a little bit of salt, that'll help draw out the moisture in the tomatoes and help create the sauce that we are going for. This would be nice with like some smoked paprika in there. You can see all the water is starting to come out already. Ooh, this got hot. So we'll turn the heat down to medium and let that cook for about 5 minutes. Time for the chicken. We let the chicken dry brine while we prepared everything else. So the trick with chicken and getting crispy skin, one, you can sprinkle a little baking powder. That helps to get the skin crispy. But also, you want to start in a cold pan, skin side down. Rearrange this. I want to make sure. Yep. So cold pan, skin side down. And once you turn the heat on to medium high, this is how you render the fat out of the chicken skin and make sure that it gets good and crispy. And that could take about 20 minutes or so. And then we'll turn it over and let it brown on the other side, and then we'll add it to the tomato. Alright, so now we're going to add a cup of water. Now we're going to deglaze the pan. So deglazing is when you add liquid and then you scrape up everything from the bottom of the pan to help your sauce have more flavor. And that's going to simmer. The water's going to evaporate a little bit, but this is helping the sauce cook and come together more. So now, time to check the potatoes again. I think these are ready. Yep, these are ready. So it's been about 5 minutes. And you see it's just starting to get golden, but it's nowhere near brown. And you don't have to worry about overcooking thighs. That's why they're my favorite, because they just get more tender. I'm just cutting up a bunch of cilantro and then peeling some of this garlic to go into our sauce. Just trim off the bottom, trim off the top. These are a little bit older, but they're definitely still usable. Just pull it into our sauce. We're also going to add our Tikka Masala sauce. And then you can see there's still some in there. I like to get any type of liquid. Right now we're going to use hemp milk because this is going to be a creamy sauce. Okay, now I'm shaking it up. You could do this with water, you could do this with white wine, you could do it with anything. You just add it back in. So now you used all your sauce. I hate wasting. And we're going to turn this down and let it simmer, because then we're going to add our chicken to it. And we've drained our potatoes, and I just put them back in the pot to evaporate any extra water, because it can cause your potatoes to be either gummy or too watery. So now the chicken is popping me. Maybe it's closer. Ah, it's almost there. Almost there. Not close. And just let that keep going. And you know that it's getting closer to done. It's starting to turn white around the bottom. The blood is starting to come out. So that's how you know your chicken is like cooking. And it's done when it's no longer pink. But the best way to tell is to get a thermometer, and once it says 165, you know it's done. It's nice and brown. So now we have our potatoes. They're dry. Gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter and about an ounce, so about an 1/8 cup of heavy whipping cream. I'm just gonna mash. We do want some browning on there, so we're gonna let that go for about 5 minutes. So this is what we like to see. So now we've had our chicken in here about 10 minutes. It seems to have made like more liquid. When you add the chicken, like you could add like potato wedges, like thinner slice, not super huge, to let them cook in the liquid, and it'll absorb a lot of that ginger and garlic flavor. But these are almost done. We're gonna let them go another 15 minutes. I really like to make sure that the chicken is really nice and tender. Some of the crispiness is preserved, some isn't, but it's all good. I'm just stirring to make sure nothing is stuck to the bottom. We're lucky enough to have a really good non-stick pan. However, if you don't, it's fine. Nudge under there and make sure stuff isn't sticking. This is our vegetable salad. We have the roasted cauliflower in the bottom, some fresh bell pepper, fresh zucchini. We're doing raw zucchini today. A lot of people think you have to cook different vegetables all the time, but you can enjoy certain ones raw. So this is a nice mix of raw and cooked vegetables. And we're gonna dress them in my favorite salad dressing, the Olive Garden House Italian. And then these are organic cooked beets, ready to eat. So they just come in a little bag. I'm just slicing them up and adding them to the salad. So this is a pumpkin seed and dry cranberry mix that came from another salad that I had. And I'm gonna add it here for some crunch and some sweetness. If you wanted, you could add some goat cheese or some blue cheese, feta, something like that. I'll just toss it. And that's it. So I like to just flip over the chicken and check it out. I don't see any red. I don't see any blood. Yep. So now I'm just going to heat up our potatoes again, just until they're warm.